issues that have destroyed my life? Well, my friend, I have the answer. Bible Way Hibner Memorial Church of God in Christ presents Chain Breakers, this and every Sunday at 9 a.m. here on WHYL.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.
Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys, your weekly source for all things real estate. We're your hosts, real estate broker John Rainville and your mortgage expert Kingsley Harmer discuss everything from mortgage rates to home staging for foreclosures and everything in between that affect the daily real estate market. Real people, real questions, real answers. Today's show is brought to you by www.pagoloan.com, your source for new mortgage loans. NMLS number 1018. InviroQuest, trusted for home inspections and radon mitigation in Central PA for over 25 years. And brokersrealty.com, the easiest way to search for real estate in your hometown. Now, on to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, of those of you who are watching us on Facebook, we're having some technical issues. We're trying, that new studio camera out and trying get everything to connect. So we're actually back on the laptop right now. But, hey, today's show is titled, Where There's Smoke, There May Be Fire. So later here in the show, we're going to be talking with Don Farner, your chimney sweep and all things about chimneys, liners, inspections, maintenance, dampers, flues, metal chimneys, how you clean them, whether you should be burning one of those logs in your chimney that says it's going to clean out the creosote or not. And we're going to also be, of course, talking with John Stiles from EnviroQuest later in the show. And Kingsley right now, he's trying to get our feed up with our new camera, which is actually sitting behind the laptop right now. And, sometimes it's just technology can be a bit challenging. So that's what today's show is. I'm John Rainville from brokersrealty.com. I'm the broker here in Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, soon to be in Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, and D.C. We also have an office down in Georgia. But fires in chimneys is a thing, especially as we're coming into the fall here, that people need to be aware of, the maintenance on the chimney. And even if you have a gas furnace, an oil furnace, these items need to be checked. So we have a great expert that is going to be talking with us, Don Farner from Your Chimney Sweep. So good morning, Kingsley. How are you doing? Running back and forth to the routers.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Great.
So, this video is pretty cool.
Yeah, if we can just get it to connect, we'll be doing good.
We're groundbreaking here. You got to go through a few hoops, unfortunately, but we're going to get there.
We're trying.
So if you're following us on Facebook Radio Guys,
right.
If you're following us online or tunein.com, I think we're live streaming audio, and we should hopefully have this up soon here as far as the video.
So what's going on in the market, buddy? What's going on in the mortgage market?
Well, there's been a lot of fun reaction to, this quote-unquote that no need for appraisal.
Yeah.
And it's actually been around for a little bit with Fannie Mae, and they're just kind of extending it with Freddie loans. Most loans, by the way, are usually funded through Fannie Mae if you're applying for a conventional loan. And it's not that every loan is not going to have an appraisal. It's kind of an automated system per se from Fannie that if it meets certain criteria that it's eligible for it. So there's no way to tell before putting it in whether it is or not. However, it certainly is a nice little feature if you do get that loan and it comes back and says you don't have to have an appraisal. Saves you a few bucks.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we're seeing in the real estate market, I can tell you that, locally, that there's, we're starting to see inventory come back on the market almost like it's springtime. I mean, we're starting to see more and more homes come on the market, which we need, more inventory. But it's almost like it's like spring out there right now. I know our agents are out there almost every day on listing appointments right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the mortgage applications are down a bit, but it seems like we're going to go into a really strong, fall here.
That would be fabulous because I thought the summer was a bit slower than normal.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if people are gaining a little bit more a little bit more comfort in the market.
I think they are putting on their homes in the market. I went with two of my agents last night, and we looked at a home over in Camp Hill. It's getting ready to come on the market, and the young couple that owns it, a young family, they're actually going to build a new home. So that's a big step to go from your first home to a brand new home.
Yeah, I think people are just getting a little bit more confidence, not necessarily just in the real estate market, but in the U.S. market in general. I mean, unemployment's down. Seems like job growth is up. Seems like there's a lot of opportunities coming online. And, it's funny because they say the millennials, et cetera, will wait a little bit later. That was the initial.
Right.
But now I guess it's really a smart move. When we watch, and hopefully we're going to have on our show a couple of professional investors that just invest in real estate. At the end of the day, when you invest early in life, not only do you learn the market of owning real estate, but you also gain equity. So it gives you a bunch of opportunities and things to change later on in life as far as investments. So, yeah, we're having definitely difficulties here on every aspect of everything going on.
Yeah, everything's cutting us in, cutting us out. So it's interesting. I guess we're going to have to get some other technology in here and see what we can do. So I know we're waiting for Don to arrive so that we can start to talk with him about chimneys. Anything else you're seeing in the market? I mean, the rates are still down, still good.
Yeah,
we're still at 2017 historic lows,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's no excuses there. We are about to kick off our PHFA campaign, which will give the opportunity for those that don't have the down payment money. Or if they're holding off because they have very little down payment money, this PHFA program can afford thousands to somebody that's short on cash. So I'm hoping that we have that up and running, and I've been trying to get somebody from the agency to actually get on with us one of these weeks to go over some of the particulars and what people are able to get. They don't realize that they have. And we had a show, I think maybe we should do another show with regards to first-time home buyers assistance. There's a lot of programs out there, folks. Don't think that just you got to have 20%. Actually, there was a stat that came out within the last week where, what is it, 80%, 85% of all home buying today is less than 20% down.
Craziness.
Which I think is great. If you have good credit and you've got income, which are the two big, key points, there's no reason not to own a home. I mean, with as little as 0% down and closing cost assistance. So the market is certainly ripe at this point to buy a home. And with the way that it's going, it just seems like every month you turn around, values are going up.
Yeah, and we know that the draw on construction materials from the two hurricanes in Texas and in Florida, that's going to draw on our resources. So we're going to probably see. I'm seeing different estimates, anywhere from an 8 to 15% bump in construction material prices. So that's going to have to raise the prices, and we're going to be seeing that occur. So, it could be a good time to buy right now, especially if you're buying a new home, because I think we're going to see better than normal appreciation next year. Not sure on that, but I'm just basing that because of the cost of materials going up.
Well, and I think we've already seen that this year.
Yeah, but I don't think we've seen the major price increases come. I mean, as they start to do more of the rebuilds, because Florida, wow, some of those areas were really, really, really hit hard.
And they will rebuild, as they always do. It's just going to be a tough haul. Now, I know that they have certain texts that you can send out currently to help donate. It's going to take a while for them to rebuild. So please donate if you can.
Right.
So today on the show, we're talking about chimneys.
Yeah, and let me tell you a little bit about Don Farner's company. They've been serving the area, doing this chimney cleaning and repairs and more than that since 1992. And Donnie is a certified chimney expert with the CSIA designation, and he does all services to your chimney, including chimney sweeping for every type of appliance, wood, pellet, coal, oil, propane, natural gas. And folks, a lot of times people think because they have propane or natural gas, they don't need their chimneys cleaned or inspected, and that's really not a good idea. Donnie's going to talk to you about that, why. He also does inspections and video inspections, chimney repairs, does caps, does chimney liners, does chimney waterproofing, crowns and masonry, and he even installs gas log sets, factory-built fireplaces, pellet and wood stoves. We're going to have to ask him if he installs volcanoes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would come.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about chimneys too, I mean, we can have smoke come out of the volcano in the pool. Maybe a little bit of lava.
Right.
Recycle the lava. Real lava or not real lava. Either way, I think we're okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting time right now.
So I think we actually have him on the line.
I am here.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Don?
Good morning. I am awesome. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks so much for calling in early on a Saturday morning.
Sure. It's our busy season, so as soon as we're done here, off to sweep some chimneys.
Nice. So, Don, can you tell us what, let's start off, with our listeners. What do you do to clean a chimney?
We're different from a lot of other companies. We actually go to the top of the chimney and do a thorough inspection, and then we use a series of rods that rotate and start at the bottom and sweep everything down to the bottom. So we're always up high every day.
So, normally people figure a chimney, they sort of picture a brick chimney, but you even do this like, I know some of the newer construction just has like a insulated wall pipe that goes up. You clean those too, right? And those should be inspected regularly.
Yeah, the Chimney Safety Institute of America recommends anyone that uses their fireplace to have an annual inspection. So, that just make sure that everything is up to code and ready to burn. The steel wall that you were talking about is like a manufactured fireplace or a wood stove. They would have a stainless steel insert or a triple wall chimney system. So, yep, they need cleaned also.
Okay, so, what is it that you're cleaning out of chimneys? Is it soot? Is it, creosote we hear about? What is it that you are actually removing in chimneys?
Well, anything can be in a chimney, from sticks, leaves, animals, birds, squirrels, stink bugs, to the creosote. Creosote is the number one factor for a chimney fire.
Interesting. So now I've been in different stores over the years, and I've seen that they have these like creosote cleaning logs.
Yes, sir. Yes, they are called the chimney sweep log. So they're the CSL log, and what they do is sometimes the creosote is glazed or very hard and tar-like. So if you would burn those logs, normally I recommend to my customers to burn 2 of those logs first, and then change chemical consistency of the creosote. So then we can follow up after they're done burning that and go down and clean it and give it a little sweeping.
Okay, when you see these products out there every morning, you don't know whether you should actually use them or not. So that's interesting.
Yes, sir, they do work. but you have to have a chimney sweep come after you're done burning it to remove what is left.
So now you can inspect and clean other flues in my house besides, my fireplace?
Yeah. My goodness, yes. You had mentioned about oil or propane. It's a common misconception that the furnace company takes care of the furnace chimney, and they don't. So, we do gas fireplaces, we do the propane and gas furnaces and boilers, we do oil boilers. Yes, that has to be done at least once a year. Sometimes I've had some that are burning rich, and we would clean it and at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year they said they had some soot blowback. So I also recommend them that they call the furnace company to come out and adjust their furnace.
How long does it take for you to do a chimney cleaning?
Right now I have 2 other employees that are out on the jobs with me, so we have 3 people out. We have our system, and it normally takes about an hour.
Okay, and I guess it depends on how dirty or what you run into when you're out there. Now, do you also inspect the chimney when you're out there after you clean it?
Yeah, we do what's called, the Chimney Safety Institute of America has levels of inspection. We do a level 1 inspection, which is visual inspection. It's non-intrusive. So we will go out and we'll do an inspection first, and then go through, first of all, make sure that it needs swept, and then sweep it, and then go back through and make sure that there's no cracks or missing mortar joints between the terracotta tile liner and that kind of thing. So yeah, every chimney sweep gets an inspection.
About how often should our listeners, plan to have their, someone like you come out and clean their chimney? Does it vary?
It does vary. If you are a heavy burner, and when I say heavy burner is 2 or more cords of firewood per year, you might want to have us out twice. Also, the moisture content in the firewood is a big factor. You can burn a half a quart of wet firewood and have the same creosote or worse creosote than 3 or 4 cords of like a kiln-dried firewood, which is very low moisture content.
Okay.
So at least once a year.
So at least once a year. And Don, what's that run, on average? Does it vary?
We right now are the best deal for a certified chimney sweep in the Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg, Carlisle area at $165.
Could you say that again? It was
$165.
Is that all? 100? I thought it would be more than that. I was expecting,
$165.
I was expecting $250 or $300 for somebody to get up on the roof and all that.
Well, there are some. There are some companies that are charging that. I mean, I'm a small company. I'm on every job, and I like to stay small. I don't. So, I could raise the prices, but I don't. It's working well for us.
So what certifications do you have, Don?
I am a certified chimney sweep from the CSIA, which is the Chimney Safety Institute of America, and they're located in Plainfield, Indiana.
Nice. And so now I imagine there was some education. What's sort of your background?
Oh, well, I started chimney sweeping back in the early 90s. I was playing music and living in Perry County and needed something to supplement my musical income, and saw the August West system in a magazine called Mother Earth News, and said, "Hey, that looks like fun." I apprenticed with an older gentleman from Perry County, and then off and on through the years, I've been chimney sweeping.
So, Don, can you tell our listeners sort of what is creosote and how's it get in the chimney, and maybe a little bit about why it's dangerous?
Oh, certainly. The creosote, when the fuel burns, as it heats up, it moves up through the flue system, and then as it gets colder, it expands and lines against the chimney or flue wall. And over time, the buildup can actually clog, the entire flue system. there's pictures on my website at yourchimney.com that show some very bad clogged chimneys.
And you're on Facebook, too. Your Chimney Sweep is what they have to put in there on Facebook.
It's facebook.com/yourchimneysweep.
So, with a lot of this buildup of creosote, then how often should it be cleaned?
Well, that's the thing. It depends. The CSIA says if there is greater 1/8 of an inch or greater buildup, it needs cleaned. And that's kind of like enough to track a cat. So that's how we look at it. But, if that makes sense. I mean, there's different kinds of creosote. There can be, like a popcorn creosote, which actually looks like popcorn, and it's very flaky, and that, as it goes up and expands and more adds to it, that's the kind that really blocks the flow.
So you want to have it cleaned? I mean, do you have it checked once a year?
So it depends. Like if I'm burning wood, I probably need to have you out there maybe once or twice a year, Don. But if I just have like a gas propane fireplace, maybe just once a year.
Right. Yeah. If you're burning firewood, and a lot of people know their fuel appliance or wood stove or fireplace, the thing that causes the most creosote is the end of the night when everybody is getting ready to go to bed. They'll load up their wood stove, back the air off, and it sits and smolders, and that causes creosote. That's where the greatest amount of creosote is caused. People that burn a very hot fire all the time, the exhaust is up and out very quickly, whereas if it sits and meanders overnight, it goes up very slowly, has a chance to cool off, and then expand and get on the flue walls.
And real quick, I mean, we always talk about green wood, wet wood. Does it matter? Does it build up quicker if it's greener wood or wet wood? I mean, what's the overall?
I always recommend the driest wood possible. The wet wood is a moisture content of 25% or greater, and we actually have a kiln-dried product that we have it sitting at our shop for our customers to stop by and pick up, and it's kiln-dried. So that is a moisture content between 5 and 12%. It's very low moisture content, burns very hot, and being a chimney sweep, I want my customers to burn the best wood possible, so I offer that to them.
And if it's green wood, I mean, if the wood isn't aged, does that tend to build up creosote much faster?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the higher the moisture content, so the greener the wood, the higher the moisture content, and then the more creosote will develop from burning that.
Gotcha.
Some people look at firewood on Craigslist, and the guy will bring it out and it's green, and they'll burn half of it and call me up, and their chimney's very close to being clogged. So you have to be careful with your firewood. I'd recommend getting a firewood moisture meter, on the internet for about $8.
Never even knew that.
No.
Wood stove my whole life. Never knew of a...
Yeah. I have a couple in each of my trucks because, we tend to give them to customers.
So when you come out and do these cleanings, how long does it usually take? Is it something I can schedule on my lunch break? Before I get up while I'm having my coffee? I mean, what sort of time are we looking at when you do a cleaning?
It's about an hour, and my website is really easy to book an appointment. You go to yourchimney.com, and there's a big button that says book appointment. You can schedule your appointment online without even calling. We offer hours anywhere from 7:30 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night.
Nice. So I don't have to be home all day. We can actually book an appointment for you to come.
Or you can have grandma or the neighbor, come over and sit with us. There's an option that you can pay for your sweep right there. So you could book it, pay for it, and be done, and just have someone sit and wait for us while we come.
Oh, that's convenient.
So,
yes,
Doc,
sir.
when you do the chimney inspections, can you tell our listeners a little bit about maybe chimney relining, what that is, and what some of the things that you see missing a lot of times in somebody's chimney that maybe they need to add.
It's funny because sometimes we wonder what the mason was thinking as they were laying this chimney. I guess the builders sometimes think, well, no one's going to see this way up here, and we see a lot of things, missing mortar joints. Sometimes we'll put a little note to whoever may be next up there. But as far as the oil liners or the relining, the most relines we do are for an oil furnace or an oil furnace that is switched over to natural gas. And I live in town in the borough of Mechanicsburg, and almost every older home here should have a reline.
So, Don, when I'm out and about showing houses in the real estate industry, a lot of times, like right up around the ceiling where the chimney comes through, I mean, you see damage on the ceiling, and people say, oh, well, no, I had the flashing redone. Is there water getting in some other way through that chimney and coming into the house?
The water infiltration problems, I mean, when I go out and look at it, it's always, number one, check the flashing, check if the roof is spongy around the flashing, then look at the crown, is there a chimney cap, and then the mortar joint. So it's like diagnosing a car problem. You look at it and you look at each area, and a lot of times the customer will want to start with the least expensive first. Okay, let's see if it's that. Let's see if it's that. Until we finally find the problem.
And what is the function of a chimney cap? I mean, is that just to keep from like the sparks going out in the air, or is it do something else?
Right. Well, I just being a realtor, that the home inspectors always say the flue needs a chimney cap / spark arrestor. So it does serve two purposes. The first purpose is to keep the hot sparks from leaving the flue and getting on eaves or on the roof. And the second use for the chimney cap spark arrestor is to keep things out.
I'm sorry, is the what?
Well, it's to keep those bats out of your chimney,
Oh, my gosh. Birds, squirrels, raccoons, stink bugs. We came upon a nest of baby squirrels in Carlisle a few weeks ago. And
wow.
Let's just say the baby squirrels went home with Josh, who works with me, and he hand-fed them.
And apparently cats.
And cats. Yes, the cats too. And the worst was a raccoon.
Don, one of our listeners on Facebook, they're asking, they have one of those prefab fireplace inserts, that you see where they have what we call in the real estate industry little dog houses that they build out the back. Is that something we should have you come check?
I'm going to assume that's a propane or a natural gas.
Correct.
And they do burn very clean, and that's something we actually clean the inside of those where you can pull the glass off. If it burns a little rich, it can get some residue in there. So when we're called out to clean the inside of that, we do run a brush back through that also.
So I real quick, I have a question. When we're talking about cleaning, how is it that you actually clean a chimney? Because I'm a do-it-yourselfer type guy. Can I jump up on the roof, get a hose, and start spraying it down, or is there some other method to cleaning a chimney that I should maybe be thinking about?
Well, to clean the outside, you can power wash it. The inside, I would definitely recommend having a certified sweep do that. There's just, we do go to school. We take tests to continue our education all the time. So there's things that we can see that a normal homeowner wouldn't see.
Don, something I've noticed, that maybe it's just my imagination, but it seems like my chimney smells more like in the spring and the summer. Is there a reason for that?
It's the rain and the humidity. So, the best bet would be in the spring after your burning season is to have a a certified sweep come out and clean the flue, remove your damper, clean everything that's on the smoke chamber, and just get a very thorough sweeping done. And then you can put a piece of insulation up above your damper, and that would stop the smell until burning season, and you remove that and you're ready to go.
Okay, I'm back to this cleaning thing. So the hose isn't working, right? So I'm not supposed to spray it out with a hose. When we say sweep, are we like sticking a huge broom down there and trying to like brush it out, or what is the actual technique to it? I mean, is it air, a big air gun?
He's running brushes up and down.
Yeah.
Brushes.
Spinning brushes.
We use a couple different systems. One is a rotary system. We start at the top, and it's a brush that spins, and it spins at a very high velocity and just knocks everything down, and then it falls down through the chimney and lands on the smoke shelf, and then we remove the damper and clean that all up from down below. Sometimes you have some very hard creosote, so we have scrapers that you attach to a pole, and you can scrape. The further down you go, the harder it is, but you can scrape the creosote off with a scraper.
So, Don, sometimes, actually, we're out in houses, and I'm down in the basement, and I see this little, like, cast metal door, what is that?
The infamous the firebox clean-out door.
And so what is that? Is that, I've heard people where they get that little flap in the bottom of their fireplace and they sweep the crap in there, but down in there. But you're not supposed to do that, are you?
Well, that's what the main intention was when they built the fireplace. I recommend highly against doing that. An ash bucket and a shovel sitting right beside your fireplace. You clean it out and put it into a bag and put it in the trash. A lot of homes, they have the ash clean-out door in the fireplace, but there's no clean-out in the basement. So all of that material just lays in the wall cavity, and I'm not a fan of the ash clean-out door. So.
Good to know.
Yeah, and there's no use with the ash, right? I mean, the ash just has to be put in a bag and tossed out. It's not like I can use it to put under the garden or anything like that, right?
Grandma used it for the garden. I'm not so sure. I live in town, so we don't have a plot here, but I do remember my grandma using it.
So, Don, for our listeners, what are some of the warning signs, maybe, for lack of better words, that they should be picking up the phone and calling you because, are there signs like maybe their chimney smoking, or what are different signs that should indicate to them that they need to get you on the phone?
If you're building a fire and you're getting a lot of smoke rollback, that's saying that there's a problem, and give us a call and we'll figure out what the problem is. If you have a wood stove and you open your door and it's smoking now, where it used to just go up and out, you have a problem. You're getting a clogged chimney. So that's it has to smoke is the indicator. As you said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and if smoke's coming back into the house, that normally indicates you have a problem.
Sometimes when I'm out showing houses, I notice on the outside, mostly like brick, well, really just on brick chimneys, sometimes it's got like a white discoloration. Is that mean something's wrong with the chimney?
That's effervescent. So that means that the interior of the chimney is getting wet, and as it dries, it goes through the brick and leaves the effervescence on the outside. So that shows that your chimney system is taking water on.
It's taking on water. I know there are these things that I see, online and on TV all the time about masonry sealers. So should somebody seal the outside? If they have a masonry chimney, should they seal the outside with something like that? Is that a good idea?
And this is a personal preference. Only in extreme conditions I believe that a brick is like a sponge. So the brick needs to breathe. If you would put something over the outside of it, it doesn't give the brick the opportunity to breathe. So in extreme water infiltration problems where we've tried everything else, maybe the brick, when it was manufactured, is very coarse and water is actually making its way in, then we will use a waterproofer. But other than that, I don't recommend it.
Another quick question for you. When you're doing your inspection, the inside of the chimney a lot of times is obviously covered in creosote. How can you tell if perhaps there's maybe a couple cracks in the chimney or the inner liner for that matter? Is that something that happens on occasion?
The cracking normally occurs when there's a chimney fire. What happens is there's a fire, the creosote will build up so bad, and then it actually ignites, and the creosote inside catches fire, and as that heats up, the terracotta tile cracks. And, then the fire goes out. A lot of chimney fires people don't even know they had. So that's another misconception. People think, I had a chimney fire, I heard the freight train. The freight train sound that everybody knows with the chimney fire. And, most of the chimney fires go without the homeowner even knowing they had it.
So the creosote ignites, it burns, right. Smoke comes out the top. Nobody's the wiser because they've got a little fire going and smoke's supposed to come out the top anyway. And before you know it, the damage is done. You didn't even know it. And after the crack in the terracotta or the inner lining or even just the brick at that particular point, what sort of risks does a homeowner have without having it inspected? Let's say somebody, I don't need to get it inspected. 2-3 years goes by. Right. 2 years ago there was a fire, there's a crack. So what can happen from that point?
Well, as the flue system, that chimney tile heats up, the crack gets bigger. At school in Indiana, we have a video, we did a video where we lit a chimney fire and had a camera there where the tile, you can actually stick your hand through the crack, and then when it cools, you can't fit a piece of paper through it. So that crack spans, an inch or so, and the debris or the exhaust and the sparks can get through that crack and get caught in between your flue tile and your chimney system, and it's not good.
But now, somebody like you have the ability to, I guess, what I'm calling relining the chimney. How do you go about doing that?
We have a machine that goes down through and actually breaks the tile apart. So it's an intense job. You break the tile apart and drop a stainless steel liner. Say it would be the fireplace, so it would be an 11 by 11 or a 10 by 10 square liner. Drop that down, and then we pour a vermiculite insulation around the liner. It's a rough job.
Don, at what point did people start lining chimneys? Because I've seen some in like older homes, I'm talking, like Victorians and that there's no liner in at all.
Right, so they're just brick on line.
Yeah. Was that a pretty common way they were built? And
yes, now, I live in Mechanicsburg, so every house here is, all the older homes are brick on lined. And it doesn't meet code anymore.
That's what I was going to ask you. So is that something? If everything's, is it something that you definitely should do? Have a liner put in, or do you wait until the chimney has a problem?
Well, now if you wanted to sell that house, and the home inspector comes through, and they say you need to call a qualified chimney technician, and we come out and say, hey, this needs a liner. If they want to sell it, they really have to have it lined.
Now, how costly is that?
It depends. If it's just an oil furnace, it's about $60-$70 a foot. If it's a fireplace, it's a little rougher job, so it's more costly.
Don, that brings up an interesting question. So is there a standard height that your chimney should extend beyond the roof? I mean, because I see everything from where they go. I've seen them as low as, I swear, like 6 inches above the roof, and that's where they stop. And then I see other ones I've seen already that, must go 5 feet beyond the roof.
There's a rule called the 3-2-10 rule. The chimney has to be 3 foot higher than where it exits the roof at the lowest point. So every chimney you see that isn't 3 foot high isn't up to code.
So if I sold a house that didn't have that, would it have to be brought up to code when I'm selling it?
I guess it should be. That's the code, and it's the code for a reason.
So that would be.
It depends, I guess, on the lender.
So let me understand it. So it has to extend at least 3 feet above the roof line?
Yes, sir. 3 foot above the roof line and 2 foot higher than anything within 10 feet.
Okay.
So
other exhaust
so
vents.
if you have a double roof house, it has to be 2 foot higher than anything within 10 feet.
So real quick, getting your chimney inspected obviously is very important, and I just want to make sure everybody listening, this hits home. The reason we're doing this is A, because we can get cracks either in the insert, the lining, B, the brick, if it's still just brick there. And those cracks, as you say, expand and can allow smoke and or embers into the actual building structure of your home, which can cause fire. So the lack of getting it inspected or even seeing what's in your chimney can literally take your home away from you.
That is correct. And the wood burning is known for chimney fires. Oil and propane and natural gas furnaces are known for carbon monoxide. So no matter what your heating source is, you should have somebody come out, a certified technician come out and check it out.
And obviously that might be a good idea here heading into the fall. And
yes, sir.
And I know we've heard many times from you that the best way to get some information is to head to your website. It's yourchimney.com, correct?
That's it.
And what is
YOUR.
And what is the best phone number for somebody to contact you to get an inspection done?
I have a very easy to remember phone number. It's 717-282-1000.
717-282-1000.
That's a very easy one to remember.
So, folks, listeners, if you think you need a chimney inspection, if you haven't had it cleaned, because I know a lot of people go years without cleaning it, if you need one of those chimney caps, if you need a chimney liner, chimney waterproofing, any repairs there, Don's the guy to call. Plus, he also will install, if you want to take your wood burner to gas log sets, he does that. He'll put in, those pre-built fireplaces like I have in my house. And Don, you even do pellet and wood stoves too, correct?
Oh, we do it. Pellet is my new favorite, and you have to have a pellet stove serviced and maintained. But the older people that don't like picking up wood, a pellet stove is a great option for nice heat.
So I have a question real quick for you. The pellet stove, I at one point looked into maybe putting one, in the basement as an alternative heat source, mainly if the power went out. But a pellet stove requires electric for A, the fan, and or B, the turntable inside to feed the pellets, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, the auger in there it needs electricity to spin. And that's where, a small generator, even the smallest little quiet generator would work for that situation, as long as you keep the generator outside and use an extension cord.
Okay. Or maybe a battery, like a house battery or something to that effect, which seems to be more popular.
Yeah, and also a lot of the pellet stove installations, they run horizontally just right out the wall. I always recommend putting an elbow on and running a couple feet higher, so that if the power does go out when you're not home, the natural draw will remove any of the smoke. Whereas if it's just running horizontal, that smoke can kick back into the house.
Well, hey, we really do appreciate you on. I hope I know our listeners has learned a few things here and there. At the very least, having your chimney inspected, once a year, twice a year, depending on use, can certainly save your home. Folks, as he mentioned, you go onto your chimney. It's easy to book an appointment online. If you have somebody staying there to let Don in, you can even pay for it online, so it's not a burden.
Thanks, Don, so much. We really appreciate your time today. We enjoyed it. We've learned a lot, and have a great weekend, my friend.
Yes, you guys too. Thank you very much. Have a great winter.
So, Kingsley,
Thank you.
It's Big Dog's birthday today.
Really? What?
Yeah, he's getting Facebook things, telling him, happy birthday on here.
Whoa, your birthday. Yep. So what are you over there? 49? Is it 49? 39? What do we got? 38. Going with 38.
Oh, he's 38.
All right. Well,
38.
And I'm 39, so I don't know how that.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I know Mr. Stas is calling in here in a second. So, what else is new in your life right now? Did you find a place to build the volcano yet?
No. I think it's actually going to come down to us building one, but now it's just a matter of, finding the plot of land and picking the builder. We've kind of narrowed it down to a couple, which I think was the hard part.
Yeah. There's so much to choose from, so many to choose from.
There is. There really is.
And there's a lot of good quality guys out there.
Right. And, now the good thing is we've got, new loan products out there for those builders that one time closes, we can just buy the land, have the construction done, and it's an end loan without having to refinance or do any of that, all in one loan. So you qualify once, you close once, and then you just wait for your home to be built.
Nice.
So, I know we have John on.
Good morning, John. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys.
So what are we talking about this morning, buddy?
Oh, whoa. Hold on. I got to ask John a quick question. When you do a home inspection, because I'm just kind of stemming off of our chimney builds, if you have a home that doesn't have a chimney that's 3 feet above the roof line or 2 feet higher, does that get put into your inspection? Do you look for that?
Yeah, we check for that. What I'm sure your last guest talked about it, but it can be a fire hazard, especially with depending on what type of roofing material. Asphalt shingles, you get embers flowing out. It's got to be a certain amount of clearance to reduce the chance of a fire.
Okay, so if you've got an older roof, brittle, etc., and it's only like a foot beyond, those little embers can ignite that.
Yeah. So we do check for clearance from the roof material, from the chimney height above the roof material.
Right.
We do look for that. A lot of houses during the 60s we find to have, or if they were added onto and they raised the roof line, they didn't raise the chimney. That's another situation that gets put into the report.
Okay, all right. See, I had to know that. Just another reason yet to get that checked. So call Don, call John if you have any questions, obviously, about that or concerns. So what is our topic for today, John?
So requested topic of the day is what to do with winter coming, change of season coming on the cold season, things that you should do to your house to prep. So flowing seamlessly right into the next topic, you want to get your chimney inspected.
Okay, well, there we go.
But
we're ahead of the curve on that one.
So, but seriously, depending on the type of fuel that you're burning, especially the dirtier fuels like oil or wood, if you're not using your chimney during the summer, a thing to think of is sometimes we see like maybe a bird builds a nest in your vent pipe, so you want to make sure that's clear. You don't want to run into a problem when you actually need the heat. You want to check it beforehand, get it cleaned if needed. If you have an oil furnace, you want to make sure that you have that service. They require yearly service. And if it hasn't been serviced, you want to get that service so that you have good, clean operation and that you're not in a bind. When when you need the heat, that's when the companies, the HVAC companies, they're real busy because everybody who hasn't prepped now, they're finding, hey, I got a problem here, so they're real busy. It's hard to get a hold of somebody in the first few days that we actually need.
And in the fall, I would imagine that leaves coming off the trees. Do you ever find issues or see issues where the leaves kind of build up around maybe the chimney area or the chimney vent, with the possibility of the embers catching fire or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, you want to clear, shingles off your roof, clear them out of the gutters, make sure your gutters are free flowing. The basic thing to remember is the building physics of your house change from summer to winter. So the warm air always wants to go towards the cooler air. So during the summer, the outside air is trying to get into your house. But during the winter, when your interior of your house is warmer than the outside, the vapor drive through your wall changes from inside to outside. So, little things like if you have a whole house fan or something like that, that's when you put your insulated blanket on that or insulated cover to keep the warm air in your house from getting up into your attic. That would be the time to think of. If you have something like can lights in your ceiling of your second floor especially, that's when the warm air is going to get up through those into your attic. Get sealed trim kits for your can lights. If you have your AC outside, your AC unit outside, and you have a cover for it, that's when you put your cover on.
Well, that brings me up. Should you cover that outside unit, John, for the winter? I mean, most people I don't see cover that unit, but should you?
I don't think it's really entirely necessary. Of course, it's going to preserve the metal, keep it from snow sitting on it, things like that. It might make it last a little bit longer, but those units are made to be outside uncovered, so I don't think it's entirely necessary in my opinion. Of course it will keep leaves and things out of it as well. Maybe it's never a bad idea, but I don't think it's entirely necessary.
And what about like those because a lot of these furnaces now are that high efficiency stuff with just a little plastic pipe coming outside the walls. Is there anything we should be looking to do this time of year, or just keep the leaves away? What about those?
Yeah, so if you have one of those, that's a good point, John. And you want to check to make sure that those pipes, the intake or combustion air pipe and the vent pipe, they have to be more than a foot apart, so they can't be too close together, because what can happen is during the winter when they're drawing combustion air, if it's too close to the exhaust pipe, it'll pull that exhaust in through the combustion air intake, and there's a lot of moisture in that exhaust, and it will freeze it shut possibly.
So we were talking with Don Farner here, about the chimneys and that. We talked about like chimney caps and that, to keep, rodents and, birds and stuff, squirrels out of your chimney. In those vent pipes that we're talking about, those PVC pipes, should there be like some chicken wire or anything, or you just don't need to worry about it?
Once again, I don't think it would hurt. I don't hear about it a lot, or the main thing that I hear about with those is them freezing shut. It's a pretty hostile environment for any little critters that would get in there. And, probably the intake pipe, if you want to make sure that doesn't get clogged, or put a screen over that one. A lot of times you see people put a 90-degree elbow. That helps a lot.
Interesting. Well, we really appreciate you today, John. We're getting close to the end of the show here today because we had some technical difficulties with our cameras and with some different things today. It was a challenging show. So we appreciate you, buddy, this week, and we'll be talking to you next weekend. But what's the best number for them to reach you for a home inspection?
Best number, 717-233-6144. I guess we got to add that 717 now, right?
Yeah, we have to add that 717. I keep forgetting that. So, and your website is?
evqharrisburg.com.
Nice.
And you are on Facebook as well?
Yep.
On Facebook as well. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, well, thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.
All right,
John.
have a great day.
Good weekend.
You too.
So interesting.
Yeah, I learned a lot there from Don and, John today. But, yeah, especially about that chimney safety. And, because right now in my neighborhood, I'm starting to smell that, they're all starting to burn theirs.
I love the smell of this time of year.
Yeah.
Just the fireplace is going.
Summer left.
The chimney is outside.
Yeah.
Just a great time of year, especially if you have, like an outdoor fire pit or something.
Right.
Great for these, because it's the perfect weather.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it still stays about 60, dip to maybe about 50. Great night to just kind of hang out. Beautiful time of year.
Unbelievable.
But one thing, it just brings up an interesting topic that maybe we should look into. We can get our director, Al, to look into, is perhaps winter home efficiency. In other words, have you ever had those guys come in and do energy audits on your home to say this can be
that would be an interesting topic.
Upgraded?
Like energy audits. Maybe we can find somebody.
John was mentioning those kits for the lights in the ceiling.
For the lights, if you have like the pull down stairs, So yeah, that's all good to think about.
Yeah. So market's great. Rates are still awesome. Please get a pre-qual. As I told you before, if you're unaware of, how much money you're going to need down, take the few minutes to find out. Let's get a plan together for you. At least maybe let's get a list of down payment assistance programs that are out there to help you if you think you're a little short on the cash. I also know that my buddy John here has some rebate programs for all of our heroes out there.
Yeah, and you know what? Big shout out to Jesse Storm, from Brokers Realty in Lancaster. Last week they did that huge event down there at the Barnstormers. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal turnout. The people were just so thankful and grateful. It was just a phenomenal thing that he did. Giving out all those tickets to the veterans and first responders. The stadium was packed.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. It was packed, and they had such cool things there. So shout out to Jesse for a job well done.
Awesome. Well, until next week, I am Kingsley with pagoloan.com. You can always reach me at 717-200-4800. Get your free pre-qual. Any questions on mortgages, give me a call.
And I'm John from brokersrealty.com, 717-554-7430. So what's the closeout again? Okay, real people.
Until next week.
Real people.
Real answers?
Real questions.
Flip that around.
Right.
Real questions.
Real answers. No, real people. Real answers.
People. All right. Real websites.
So till next week when you get your real estate on.
Catch us on Facebook, online, realestateradioguys.com. I believe we're actually going to be revamping that sometime soon.
Very soon.
And next week, hopefully, we'll actually have our videos up to date and working.
We'll figure the cameras out, guys. Till
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit pagoloan.com, brokersrealty.com, and facebook.com/Real Estate Radio Guy. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on the Real Estate Radio Guys.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.